Hi, and welcome to 647. 6 stories for 7 a.m. because there's a famine of truth in our land. And this is your quick news fix. And the truth starts now. All right. Take one. We've got an A and a B this morning. A is just an update on the Texas disaster. And unfortunately, the death toll is up to 104. The flood warning stopped at 7 p.m. last night in the area. The water level's going down. They're going to find more and more folks. A major flood in this area was 20 to 22 feet above flood stage. And at midnight on July 4th, that river hit 29.45 feet. That is just completely and utterly unprecedented. And it is the confluence of all of this that these people were camping outside and enjoying the river. And when you camp outside, you don't stay up super late. And so they're all asleep in their sleeping bags. And then this monster comes down the valley. Just awful. Okay, good news yesterday. The IRS agreed that a decades-old law that pastors may not endorse political leaders or parties from the pulpit is no longer the case. The agency said that if a house of worship endorsed a candidate to its congregants, the IRS would view that not as campaigning, but as a private matter like a family discussion concerning candidates. This used to be that you could threaten churches with their tax-exempt status if somebody could prove that they were talking about a candidate. So this does not apply to nonprofits, just to houses of worship. The ban on campaigning was introduced by LBJ, who should have been strangled in his crib, as a senator in 1954. This was the beginning of the slow creep of un-American nonsense that was eventually to lead to the Biden insanity. But it was all of our fault. And we better remember that we can no longer remain silent. Can you imagine in 54 when LBJ puts this bill up and says pastors are not allowed to say that, or we're going to take away their tax-exempt status of their churches? Everybody would have found it appalling, and nobody would have gone up against him. And that cannot happen anymore, okay? Fight, fight, fight. That's for all of us. All right, take two. The BRICS. Who are the BRICS? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Well, they met yesterday in Brazil, and the plan was to replace the dollar, okay? I have been sweating this thing for 18 months. All of the world economists are saying, oh, the dollar's over. It's definitely going to happen. Death to America, financial death to America, all of it. They could all see the handwriting on the wall. And then orange man bad between Trump trumping Iran and firing up the economic furnace along with his tariff genius. BRICS was over before it began. Trump threatened them all with higher tariffs if they threatened to go off the dollar. Xi and Putin, the two heavyweights of this group, didn't even show up for the meeting. Think about that. Putin claims because he could be arrested as a war criminal because of Ukraine, so he can't leave Mother Russia. He's left it before, but not now. And Xi because the optics were bad after 12 consecutive years of going to the BRICS and meeting and being the big dog. Now he doesn't want to go there. It's the orange roughie throwing his shoulders around. Okay? So this move off the dollar would have destroyed, it would have ended us financially. And this is all because of Trump. Okay? Trump just took this off the table, and with no help from Congress or the Fed, Orange Man is a bad dude. All right. Take 3. Drink coffee. Who knew? A Harvard study of 50,000 women over 30 years finds coffee drinking, 1 to 2 cups per day, is linked to, ready for it, heart health, longer life, and aids healthy aging in women. They didn't say anything about men, but who cares? We'll just come along for the ride. This is about caffeinated coffee only, not decaf, liberals, and not tea. Okay? This may uniquely support aging trajectories and preserve mental and physical function. So, all good reasons to have 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day. If you weren't thinking about it, you better think about it. And so, what's healthy aging mean? Well, this is how the Harvard study defined it. First, being 70 or older. 2, not having any of the 11 chronic diseases like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer. 3, positive mental outlook. List is starting to erode for me. Maintain physical function. Well, not what it was. And 5, no memory or cognitive issues. You know, I hate this list. I'm still drinking coffee. I don't care about it. All right. Take 4. Backseat driver. Backseat driver. What could this possibly mean? It's going to mean it's so big. This is about the Fed, and it's about our buddy Jerome, the lady in waiting, is doing all that he can to stall the engine of our economy. And Trump is haranguing and insulting him after weeks of pleading for a rate reduction. Ours is the highest in the world. And just a note, you cannot mess with Trump and expect nothing but super bad to happen. Ask the Ayatollah. So Trump is going to choose Scott Bessent, I'm guessing, in August as the next Fed chairman, and let him drive from the back seat, or even better, driving Miss Jerome. The entire Fed board will see that even though Jerome's not officially out, Scott is the new future. Okay? And they will see his intention for the Fed, and they will begin to course correct in his direction, completely ignoring Jerome because they want to be a part of the future. And they certainly don't want to be locked in Jerome's catechism of Orange Man bad, and then all of a sudden get nailed when Bessent takes control of things. So he's going to let his will be known constantly in the press, and they are going to start course correct pretty much immediately. And what can you say? Trump is faced with a guy who's not out of his position until May 15th of 26. Okay, that's too long to have the lid on a boiling pot. So This is the genius of Trump's play. He's gone, well, if I can't get the guy out, which I'm not sure I can't, I will at least do all of the fanfare to say, Scott Bessent's the new Fed chairman. As soon as this clown's gone, maybe we can get him to leave early. And everybody on that board is going to track with Scott. And that's a good thing for all of us. Let's watch it. This is actually going to be fun to watch. All right. This is not fun to watch. This is take 5. FBI and DOJ. I love these people, but they are absolutely and utterly full of it. Monday, Pam Bondi and Kash Patel announced that Jeffrey Epstein had no client list. Let me say that again. He had no client list. It was all he and Mossad and CIA lived for, but he had no client list. Kash and Pam also said that after systematic review, that means it's important, there was no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent figures, which is why you must believe he was not murdered in jail. You remember when they came out and said, oh, absolutely no, I've seen the tapes. He wasn't murdered in jail. He committed suicide. That's the setup for this. Oh, and he had no client list. We've only heard about it for years, for 20 years. Journalists had the thing. Oh, no, he had no client list and no need to have one because he didn't blackmail anybody. Oh, and he died by suicide. Just to recap. Here's the recap. No client list, blackmailed nobody, committed suicide in jail, and about maybe a number 4. On April 25th, 2025, Virginia Giuffre, the star witness to all these shenanigans, died at home and was officially declared a suicide. This was after being run over by a bus the week before. And her father says she was killed after several attempts. Okay? Starting to feel like maybe you can't handle the truth. So if you're feeling that way, then I'm going to pile right on. If so, then I will include that Santa never brought a single toy. The Tooth Fairy was broke, and the Easter Bunny spent time with your mom. Oh, and there's also 10,000 hours of videotapes from 4 residences of Jeff and friends playing what? Yahtzee with 15-year-old girls from around the world? You know, Bill Clinton is a Yahtzee champ. He is. I just know it. Well, we're going to have to wait for this, right? Because our bettors have decided that we can't handle it. They can't handle it. And much like the Diddy slop, there are too many important people with their pants down on film doing terrible things, and they just got to all take care of one another. It's disgusting. All right. Last take 6. Philip Bueller's Day Off. You remember that movie? That was Ferris, but this is Philip, okay? Phil is a blue patriot. More than that, he's a blue patriot artist, and he hates the J6ers. He has painted a giant red, white, and blue mural, 50 feet long in, of all places, Brooklyn, titled The Wall of Shame. Think about that. The Wall of Shame. On it, he has listed the names and crimes of all of the 1,575 Biden arrested conspirator, MAGA, racist, Nazi, Yahtzee playing loyalists who tried to assassinate Dame Nancy and the human Q-tip, Mike Pence. Okay? This guy doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. All of his information comes from NPR. And just incidentally, I was there with a bunch of veterans and first responders, all in my grad class. None of this that this clown describes went on. It was all a Fed surrection. So Phil says that the mural in the struggle for truth that the mural is the struggle for truth in the Trump era. And that sounds vaguely familiar to me. Phil said, I'm just gathering facts, and we're benefiting from NPR's reputation having fact-checked all of this J6 information. Yeah, we got it, Phil. Phil from Brooklyn. All right, we're not from Brooklyn, and we're ready to go. It is Tuesday, okay? Second day of the week, and we want you to like us, share us, make comments, and we've been getting great comments, and I really, really appreciate them. And they're allowed to be negative, folks, okay? I have rhino skin, okay? You cannot offend me. So we need all that input to make this thing better. It's getting better. There's more people who are saying that they're looking for it, and that's what we want. So there's only one more thing to say. God bless you, and he will, and he needs to bless Texas right now. Okay, thanks very much. I'm out.